And of course, my audio was turned off. But like I was saying, guys, I hope everybody's doing great. I came on here to check on everybody. Not feeling too good. My allergies have been kind of beating me up a little bit. But I hope everybody's doing great. I have not looked at the markets. I'm going to check them out right now. So you guys can definitely shoot your coins my way and we can check things out. I'm gonna get some caffeine real quick. And again, guys, if I sound a little rough, I don't feel too well. But like I said, I just came on here to chop it up with you guys. See how everybody's doing. Alrighty. Neb, what's up? Rebecca, JG, what's poppin', my dude? 8 people watching. If we don't get more than 20 people, I'll probably hop off here, man. You know, I need to at least have 20, 30 people, so you better start waking some people up. If not, I'm going to call it a night. But let's see. Let's check out some charts. You guys can spam me some coins in here, and we can check everything out. I guess we could start off with Ethereum, right? All right. Okay. Oh, yeah, Neb, I saw you guys were going live. How'd that go? How many people did y'all have in there? Like 2 people or what? How many people did y'all end up having come on? Fart coin? Oh my lord. What's up with you and that coin, guys? Disgusting animals. Alright. So first let's check out Ethereum, guys, because look, Ethereum is gonna be the Mag Daddy. If if Ethereum is basically gonna be leading charge with the altcoins, so if ETH starts to take a shit, everything else is gonna start to come down. So right now everything looks great. I think we hit an all-time high, right? 48.90. Let me put my glasses on real quick. All right, so yeah, 48.90. So that is technically an all-time high for somewhat not really great, but a lot of people are saying that we're gonna get this 16,000 ETH. So we definitely need to keep our eyes open for that. But for right now, we need to break this 4,900, like a clean break. I'm talking about at least 5,200. And once we clear past that, we can hit past 5,200, maybe 55. Then we can start talking about, 6,000 and 7,000 and all these other kind of crazy numbers. But until then, we just got to kind of wait and see. I do think Monday we're going to have a pretty good solid open. I think that, all this stuff that happened through the week, a lot of people were being bearish. I was telling a bunch of people to kind of relax their minds and understand that, that when the whole herd is being negative and the whole herd is saying that we're going to dump, I typically like to go against what everybody else is saying, and I told my group, I told the KGU for you guys to start getting some allocations and stuff. I know I was buying stuff like crazy. Farcoin was one of them, and we ended up rocketing up. And I'm, like I said, now we got the pullback squad asking for pullbacks and when's the next level to get in. And quite frankly, I hope we don't pull back, and I hope that these people that continue to play this kind of strategy, they get left behind, because there's going to be a point in time where you got to pull up your britches and you got to man up and buy some stuff. I really can't emphasize this enough to you guys, is that there's going to be a time in your life where you got to just grow a pair and you got to buy crypto, man, and you got to stop worrying about stuff dipping, stuff pulling back. Because look, if you believe in crypto, and like I always say, like a pull string, dog, guys, if you believe in crypto and you think that we're going to be doing really big things in the future, why are you worried about today's price or what tomorrow's price will be. Just buy and, step away. Today I didn't even look at the charts at all. And when you are doing that kind of stuff like that, man, you're just totally in a peace of mind, and you're at one with with your decision. So I haven't even checked the charts until right now. I haven't even checked my portfolio right now. So that's when you're making boss moves. When you're constantly checking the charts and you're like just worried and panicky, that means you're not sure of yourself. Over here in Plebs, we're just on cruise control. All right, so let's check some comments real quick. I'm gonna hit Farcoin and all that stuff like that right now. AVAX, Crow, XRP, AOS Network, Capo, what's poppin', my bro? KGU, what to do? Let's see. What's your thesis on ADA possibly going to 250? I'm putting together my exit plan. Morons saying 10, 20, laugh out loud. I'm thinking 4-ish. Well, you know what? You sound like you're very smart because you already can identify the clowns that are in the space saying all this ridiculous bullshit. And so, $10 and $20 isn't happening, my friend. So I think we both agree on that. As far as $4, that really just depends on what ADA can bring to the table. Look, they have a lot of stuff that they're trying to roll out. The only thing is, are they going to get it rolled out? So, look, let's focus on breaking $1.80 first. Once we break $1.80, then we'll go from there. But let's check out Farcoin real quick for, Miss Neb and Brenda real quick, because I know this is their favorite coin, and we definitely want to make sure that we are catching any kind of lows that are coming down. All right, so let's see. This was what? This was Friday when we were here at this low. We called this out, guys. I think we dipped down, close to 70, 78 cents, 79 cents. We wicked down here. I know a lot of people from the Discord, they caught that, and they were able to capitalize on that. So we're on the 45-minute. We need to probably go a little bit on a shorter time frame to kind of get a little bit more of a zoomed out. We came back down to 92.18, but guys, this is where the strong support's going to be. So if we get some kind of crazy stuff with our boy Trump, this is an area where we want to keep an eye out. 82, maybe 81. So it's a little hard for me to give out a long on Farcoin, right now. Like I said, I like to look for when things get like super oversold. So you guys that are scalp traders, that's not really my thing, but we do have some really great scalp traders in the Discord. Shout out to my boy Trendsetter, shout out to my boy Iggy. Me, I'm more of a support resistance kind of guy. I like things to go down and I catch the breakout, and then I'll end up taking profits when we start hitting resistance, and I'll set myself up for the next drop. So everybody has their own style. That's one thing that's really great about being in a Discord or being in with a bunch of traders that have different styles, because you get to learn from different people. I try to be real conservative, and I try to be real, just reserve the way I do things, but for some people, they may like it, aggressive, and, some people like it nice and slow. Wait. I'm sorry, guys. We're talking about trading here. There's people out there that like to trade differently from, the way I trade. Like I said, I try to take the most conservative outlook to everything that I do. So, like I said, we don't try to wreck anybody, at least on my part, So with Farcoin, I'm not willing to take any trades until we break below 90 cents. And if we can try to break below 90 cents, then that's when I'll be getting in. And just like my boy Germ said, no diddy up in Plebs. No diggity, no doubt. We leave all that foo-foo stuff for other Discords. All right, so let's check out Aerodrome. Aerodrome is another coin that we called out really early in KGU and even Plebs. And great generational wealth has been attained with both Discords. If you guys were buying, we're on cruise control. Everybody's asking where to get in, but we've been in, baby. Everything's on cruise control. We ain't got to worry about nothing. We're just here chopping it up. So let's see, guys. I like, so, $1.32, if you're looking to get back in, $1.32 is great. 121.81's also great. But this is just one that, look, man, we bought it down here. It's good. If you're looking for swing trades, that's good. But, my group guys, I just can't buy at this level, man. It's too high. I think a lot of the gains have already been made already. So it's just, the money's been made. Could it go higher? Will it go higher? Of course. We believe it's going to go to $2. If you want to move in with some size and get a nice swing trade, yeah, $1.32. Let's take it back up to $1.80, maybe $2. That might be working out for you. But if you're trying to build a long-term position, that's not one that I'm looking for, guys. You're in the next coin that we're gonna cover, man. You already know what coin that is. It's gonna be Avalanche. That is the coin that I'm super bullish on, man. I have so much AVAX that I can honestly tell you that I'm an AVAX maniac. People ask me all the time, Jump, what is up with you and AVAX? Why are you constantly like shilling this thing? What is up with you and AVAX? Do you work for the team? I wish, but I just like the fact that this coin is just all over the place, man. It's like, they have their hand in everything. I think it's great to be in a coin that has multi functions like, gaming, RWA, the ISO 22 compliance token. You get where I'm going with this, guys. They're partnered up with FIFA. If you guys were watching Trump's statement that he had, a couple days ago, he was, had the one of the, I think the president, right, or whatever, commissioner of FIFA, in his office. And I was like, man, is he going to say AVAX? Is he going to say AVAX? And if he would have said that, man, I think this thing would have just gigasend. But you know what? It's going to happen, guys. The stuff that is just in store for crypto holders is just so really, it's so just like, I'm dumbfounded. I don't even know what to say for it, man. There's just times where I got to pinch myself. There's people that, don't know about crypto still. For me and you and a lot of OGs, like, AVAX is a boomer coin, but this thing has so much to go, man. And I really think that, this thing will probably go to at least 40, maybe even $50. So, and I'm honestly really banking for it to go higher, but I only am looking for maybe 45 to 50. But if it goes more, I will definitely welcome it. The whole thing with them, with the FIFA, and then, the partnership with Toyota, and the DMV and stuff like that. Just, man, you guys you're not bullish enough. If anybody's watching me from KGU and you guys are like, what's a good, level to buy at? Right now is a good level to buy at. It's at $25. Buy now. Not financial advice, of course. It's at a good level now. If you're looking for an entry and you're trying to take it safe because you're scared and you just don't want to take any pain, look, 24.76, start your DCAs. But guys, look, you guys have to stop this. I got a limit order at 2037. I got a limit order at 2214 because you're scared. Look, I'm not trying to be mean about it, guys, but look, there's going to be a point to where, like I said, man, you got to roll up the sleeves and you got to get dirty, man. I was buying at 24, 25, 26, 27. I don't care, man, because like I said, I'm looking for long term. We called out a really great AVAX long trade in the Plebs Discord. We called it out at $22.90. And right now it's at $25.56. I had a little bit of a retracement down, $26.77. That $27 resistance line is going to be a big thing. But I think we're just consolidating up. We got the breakout. So I'm looking for $30, then $32, and then $35. We may have a little bit of a pullback. Then we kind of coast maybe around this $25 to $27 through the month of September. Good Lord willing, we don't get any bad news from Daddy Trump. And then we can gigasend back up into the 35s and up. And hopefully we can clear 40 to $50 by November. That's typically when AVAX likes to run the most, around towards Q4. So we just got to keep that, on the radar, okay? Let's check out AOS Network for my buddy Mr. Han Solo. Shout out to my mod. And guys, please throw some comments up in here, man. I need to stay awake. So if you guys are with me, please talk to me. Let me know something. Tell me, hello or how was your day, whatever. Let's get some conversations going up in here. Santana said full port on AVAX. Yes, sir. You sound like a really swell guy. Okay, so AS Network, great buy. AI/DPIN token. I made a call out, I think 34, 35 cents. It's pulled back since, let's see, the 13th of August. We were at 47 cents. We've come down. So anybody that's looking for a good coin to get into, like, an AI, I prefer Dr. Pepper. Yeah, Dr. Pepper's good, but I drink diet, though. I have to drink diet. I'm trying to watch my figure. So it's down 20% about, 11 days ago. So, I mean, you're looking for a pullback. There you go. AOS Network. A lot of these AI coins have already ran up already. So, ones that I can recommend to you is going to be this one, Akash Network. There's going to be, let's see, Render and other things like this. But I like AOS Network. There's a lot of big influencers that show this coin. And I think that this has the ability to at least get back up to 90 to maybe even $1 by, Q4. So keep this on your radar. Definitely is in my portfolio. So if you guys are looking for levels on that, there you go. Could we come back down to 33,688? Definitely. But, why not DCA down? Take a position right now, 37,051, and DCA down into those levels and just continue to play that game. Look, every YouTuber is going to tell you, to buy at whatever level. I'm going to tell you to DCA down because, look, things can happen. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I always pretty much say the same stuff, guys. I don't know what tomorrow brings. You don't know what tomorrow brings. It's always great just to be prepared. So, just stagger your buys down. If we get to these levels, then we'll fill them. If we don't, then we don't. Okay? Santana, on the reals though, appreciate you, man. I've been making money on Fart and AVAX ever since you mentioned them. Deuce, my bro. Appreciate you, man. And I've been making a lot of money too, man. That's the whole name of the game. A lot of people don't make money because they don't understand, like how markets work. They try to, think that this buy low, sell high stuff is always going to work out. It doesn't always work out, man. It's hard to time the top. We don't know when the top's going to be, and it's hard to time the bottom. So if there's already been a situation where, you have had an entry presented to you, take it. The worst thing that could happen is that you lose all your money. At the end of the day, if you're putting a crazy amount of money in there that you can't afford to lose, then that's your fault. But if you're taking smart buys, calculated buys, then you shouldn't be worried about dips. Usually when I take a position in, I'll start with about maybe 5 to 10%, of an allocation, and I'll begin to DCA down. I never try to full port anything, unless we had like some type of super bad news and I'm bullish on the token. So like, let's just say, heaven forbid a war came about or something like that, and AVAX came down 20, 30%. Yeah, that's going to be a heavy buy. So that's the time that I like to go really hard and swoop in and make a strong, aggressive buy. So, that's how I do it. I always encourage you guys, but if it's just like a regular day like this, take a, if you have a $10,000 portfolio, make a 5-10% allocation into the project. It's better to take a position and be exposed to a project than just constantly being on the sidelines. So, I think that's always going to be the smartest strategy to take. So, just consider it. If not, that's on you. Let's check out Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin actually looks really bad. It hit what? It got up to almost close to 17.5, and it's pulled back pretty good. So, maybe we might be seeing the beginnings of alt season. I do think if we do break too low, you know, we'll start maybe seeing a little bit of retracements from altcoins. So we just need to keep this on our radar. On the longer term time frames, you know, we had that nice bounce up exactly where I said in the Discord that I was expecting a pullback to 112, 111K, and your boy came through on that call, man. I know a lot of people are sleeping on me, you know, and that's fine, but you know, we did call it. You guys can cross-reference the videos. You know, we definitely have everything to be sourced here. We don't ever edit shit here. What we post out is what we post out. I never edit my videos. So you are always welcome to go back and check this. You know, we called this out a couple days ago, had that falling wedge right here, ended up getting that nice push up here. So, yeah, man. Nothing really on the charts right now. Yeah, we have a bullish pennant actually on Bitcoin. So just got to keep it on the radar, man. You know, at the same time, though, you know, there is head and shoulders. So that's another thing that we got to be a little cautious on. But for right now, it's like I told my group, I'm thinking we're going to push till the beginning of September, you know, September 5th. That's going to be another key date that we have to keep an eye on. If we get some bad jobs number, think that this stuff's over with. So we just got to keep it on the radar. Let's check out Pith. I want to start looking at some coins that are not really being talked about. Pith Network is massively down from its all-time high. You know, it was at what, $1.15, $1.16, and look where it is today, man. It's all the way down here. It's been beat to shit. It's at 12 cents. So I've had a lot of people ask me, Jump, like, what do you think about this coin? You know, I'm not going to lie to you. It's been not one of my best performing coins, but it is what it is. And, you know, it's a little disappointing, but I still believe in it. You know, I think that once the Sol ecosystem picks back up and we get rolling, I don't think it's going to go back to its all-time high, but I think it's fair that we can get back to 50 to 60 cents. I think it's even possible we can even get back to maybe 80 cents. But, you know, this all-time high that we hit, I don't know. You know, this coin usually, like I said, like AVAX usually runs up around November, December. So we still have quarter four, but there's a lot of resistance here at this 54 cents. So, you know, if you're looking for something, you know, like I always say, a little 3 to 4x, this is something to maybe consider. Maybe you can add it to your portfolio, or at least just keep it on your watch list. Let's see. Let's check out. I don't know. Y'all guys send me a coin. Let's check out Sol while we're waiting. Why is diet bad, Neb? Oh yeah, I must got a side conversation going on here. What'd you guys do today, man? Let's go see a movie with my kiddo. To go see Fantastic Four again. Beam? Yeah, we'll check out Beam right now, my guy. Alright, so this is Solana. Solana's actually doing really good. Wow. We got a lot of resistance, you know, probably in this 210. So maybe we might have a little bit of a pullback. XCN. Yeah, so we have resistance here at that 210. Trump coin. Neb said she was partying. All right, let's see. All right, so Solana is actually a really good coin that I think that would probably be a good trade for us. I think that if we get a little bit of a pullback, maybe going into Monday market, I think a good trade setup would probably be keeping 195.40 on the radar. So if we drop back down, to that area, put an alarm at that area that I said, 195.40. If we can break below, then we'll look to see for a bounce. But I kind of like that area. I want to see if we can range there for a little bit, and then consolidate and then take that next leg up to that next level, which would be 220, maybe 235 maybe. But for right now, like I said, there's going to be a lot of resistance in that area. I know a lot of people are talking about 1,000 Solana, but I still think that, in my personal opinion, that a lot of the good wind has been taken out of Sol because of the whole Trump coin. But Yeezy did launch his token on Solana, so I don't know. Maybe that could do good for it. I don't think so. Let's check out XCN real quick. XCN, we called that out too a couple days ago. This is actually a really good play, guys. I keep telling you guys about this because, you guys that are close to me, you guys know that my whole thing with this is that there's so many people that are trapped up in here. You got all the retail that were, talking to, Economic Ninja and talking to Economic Ninja and all these other bigger YouTubers that were saying, that this thing's going to go, to $1 and stuff like that. And they're trapped in here. So when we're trapped in these levels like that, retail, this is a great opportunity for you guys to take advantage of that. So we could catch in right here, take this back up to its July top area. That is 60%, so could we go back up here to where we were back in April? Definitely. That is at what? Almost 3 cents close to, which would be a 100% return, 2x. I don't know if we can go that high. This really all depends on, XRP and what they do. Because remember, this coin really does follow XRP to the T. So if XRP runs up, XCN's going to run up. I still believe that this is a really great token. We had that low a few days ago when we were at, 11,886. I think that was a really great buy zone. If you guys bought there, just please continue to hold. Let's take it back up into at least 2 cents. I think you guys can wait there and be patient. If you guys got there at that zone, I think that would be a really great take profit zone, 70%. So that's just my personal opinion. Let's see. Neb says diet is bad due to what's inside of it. It's known for a lot of misdiagnosis due to aspartame, etc., as well as other things placed inside of anything diet. Lots of peer-reviewed articles on it. Be quiet, Neb. Wish I had my slap emoji. Let's see. Let's check out Trump token. We'll look at Beam next. You guys shoot me your coins up in here. Let's go. Man, this thing has just been mollywop, dude. Look at this, man. Wow. Crazy. $77, man. I don't think this thing would ever go back there. I mean, Trump would have to cure cancer or something like that to get back up in those ranges, man. But definitely, a possibility. I think that, we can at least get back to maybe $24, which would be a 3x. But, I think that, anything past $24 is really kind of crazy if you ask me. I don't even really think past 25 would even happen, but I don't know, man. If we hit that alt season and meme coins come back, then maybe. Rusty Cage, Jumpman, what's poppin', my dude? Parcels, Celestia, Rusty Cage, Goldfinch, Lithium. All right, let's check out Celestia real quick for my boy Mr. Germ. Shout out to H-Town. Houston Rockets, baby. All right. Yeah, this one's not, it hasn't really moved up like all the other coins. Celestia is part of the Cosmo Eco chain. The whole dilutions and stuff like that that's happened with this token, man, has really beat it down. So, it's really sad. I think that, putting a small amount of money, maybe as a Hail Mary, maybe we can get back up to the, in this $5 to $6 region. Same thing, 2 to 3x might, help some people out. I think that this coin has already pretty much hit its low. I think it launched at $1.60. So there was at one point that was actually below its launching price. So that's super crazy, man. I remember when I got in around 2023. I got in around, I think it was around $1.90 or something like that, and it went all the way to $20, man. That was like almost like my first really big 10x in that part of the cycle, and so it was really crazy. I thought this coin was gonna go to $55. A lot of influencers, a lot of bigger YouTubers were saying that it was gonna go to $60, and then it started hitting that $20, and then it just went from 20 to 18, and then from there just 10, and then it just got destroyed, man, with all these unlocks that I had. So it's really sad to see. I've used the chain, has some good projects. Say's also part of the ecosystem as well. So it's a little sad. Hopefully these guys can maybe fix it. Maybe they can figure it out. Maybe they can get this chain back going again. But the whole modular blockchain, narrative has not really been a thing. So, I think that this thing could probably, be considered a high risk, high reward. If you guys are looking for that entry, $1.61 would be a good entry. But I mean, like I said, again, I argue that it's just already been beaten down so much. So it might be good just to take a position now, like I've always said in the past. Let's check out parcels real quick. And then also, too, guys, if there's anybody in the Plebs Discord, you guys, shout out to my Plebs members. You guys spam Plebs in the chat. Let me make sure you guys are still tapped in. Got 15 people in here. If you guys are asleep, looks like it's a slow Sunday morning. Not a lot of people are watching. All right, let's see. And how you doing, Neb? How you doing, Miss Brenda? How was y'all's little live stream? Y'all get a lot of creepos in there or what? All right, let's see. Yeah, man. So it's 2 a.m. Yeah, I know, man. It's late as hell. But I usually stay up really late. All right, so look, man, it's about that time. I think it's about that time to make a buy alert for parcels, man. I already know some of the people. They're gonna be like, oh man, it's gonna come down here to the lower sevens, and if it does, it does. But I think it's time for me to take a strong position here when we get back to at least closer to this 8 cents. If we can squeeze down here 8 cents, I'm gonna load up more. My goal is to really get at least my average down to at least around 7. I bought really high on parcels, man. I don't even want to say what my average was. It was like almost freaking 24 cents, man. It was horrible. So like I'm in the high 9s. That was a lot of work doing that. But the next drop that we get down, if we were to even come down here to like the lower 7s, yeah, I'm gonna probably take a stronger position. I should have did it, a few days ago, but I have a lot of positions that I that I need to kind of manage, and I've already pretty much loaded my bags on parcels, but I may just make one more strong buy and just let the rest just ride out. But for right now, my leverage trade guys, I think if we can get at least to this, at least I really would like to see us hit to that 8.2, like I said, because I think we might get a bounce there. Then that would be a great area to take a long at. So if you guys are leverage trading, I'm not saying take the long there, but just keep it on your radar. Let's look at 0.8207. Put that on the radar. Let's see if we can get that bounce from there. If we break below there, then yes, we might come down to 7.9, and then maybe take the long there. Neb, you said your average is at 14 cents and you got it down to 8 cents. Man, that's good. That's actually better than me. That's actually really good. Let's see. Oh, you guys are live too? What the hell? You guys are live watching me? Multitasking. ICP. Well, I mean, ICP, man, I don't know, dude. This is an OG coin, man, but I just don't know what they can do. I mean, look at that. That is like the Omega rug right there, man. That's like a super Kamehameha times 10 final flash spirit bomb rug right there, man. I mean, look at that. That thing is just like been decimated, dude. You're watching me on your live? What the hell? Y'all are crazy. Man, honestly, dude, I would just say it's better to get an EOS, bro. To be honest with you. Like I don't like fudding coins and stuff like that, because I know people take pride in, their research and stuff like that, man. But I just really don't see, what they got going on. I don't really see them building. I don't see any partnerships, anything like that, And also, too, guys, like when you're looking for crypto projects, like it's really crucial that you keep tabs on their X page. It's really crucial that you continue to see if they're building, if the team is active, if they're, staying active on X or whatever. A lot of these crypto projects like Polkadot, Polygon Matic, ICP, they're not really doing anything. So they're dead coins, they're dead chains. Could they do, a 60% gain? Of course, when the bull market comes and, all these coins start pumping, every coin's going to go up. But the ones that are still building, getting partnerships, these are going to be the ones that are obviously going to be the cream of the crop. Let's check out Cardano real quick. Oh yeah, we'll get Beam real quick. Let's get Beam for Capo real quick. Capo, how long have you been in KGU for, bro? Man, Beam looks really solid, man. It has a lot of room to run. 4 cents back in January, so man, that would literally be almost a 5x, bro. So I still think that once gaming season comes back, I think that this coin can do really well. You're looking for a buy level. I mean, right now, great opportunities. Maybe double six, 7. Keep that on your radar. If you guys are looking for a place to buy it, you can buy this on PHEMEX. You can buy it on. I think you can get it on BitNewX, but PHEMEX for sure. Lisa, what's up, Lisa? I put my headphones back on. I can't hear myself. Last run, I thought Matic was the one. Well, actually, Matic did go up really well. Matic actually was like one of the last coins to run up last cycle. It ran up a lot, but it's just really sad, man. They're not doing anything. You know, that's another coin that has just been a dead ghost chain. They're not building. They're not doing anything. So, you know, I don't like to tell people that they should get out of stuff. You know, I mean, some people got a lot of money in these coins, and you know, look, I get it, but you also want to make sure that you're not in the wrong narratives, man. You know, if you get stuck in these coins, man, you're gonna blow your bull run. So you don't want to be in the wrong stuff. So it's better to just, you know, make the adjustment now. You know, make the adjustment now. Learn from your mistake, and just move on. You know, at the end of the day, you know, nobody's perfect. I have a lot of coins that I sold too fast, or, you know, I didn't take profits in time. So, you know, it happens. But Polygon Matic, you know, unfortunately, you know, they aren't really doing anything. You know, they have the whole poly market, you know, that they use the betting stuff, and that really hasn't done anything for the price. You know, they're still not, you know, getting any of that, you know, price movement. And, you know, could it go to 60 cents? Could it go, you know, to 50 cents? Possibly, but just nothing, you know. I think that, you know, it's a little sad, but, you know, you want to be in stuff that's winners, like XRP. You know, everybody that's in XRP right now, you know, they're kind of a little shaky right now because they're wondering why, you know, XRP isn't running up. It's because it's not the narrative right now. You know, the narrative right now is going to be, you know, Ethereum tokens, all the ETH-based tokens, you know, they're going to be getting all the love right now. So, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, there's going to be a point where XRP is going to get, you know, probably the first ETF, or they're going to get, you know, something that goes for them, and then they're going to start rocketing up, and then ETH is going to pull back, and then the ETH holder is going to be crying. They're going to be like wondering what's going on, and it's just a rotation of, you know, from different capital to another capital. That's why I always tell you guys that it's great to compound gains. That's the reason why it's great to roll money into winners, into underperformers, and rinse and repeat. That way you're constantly compounding your gains. You're not bag riding your stuff down. You know, like, it still baffles me. You know, we were at 365 and people didn't take profits, you know, and they wrote it down 23%. Don't be one of these people. You know, when you start getting your coin back in all-time highs, or you're at a level where you're in a significant profit, you know, look at your portfolio, look at your asset and say, look, this is the line in the sand to where I'm willing to lose capital, or the line in the sand to where if the price pulls back to this area, I'm getting out of the asset. You know, full disclaimer, I did that with Morpho a couple days ago. Bought it at 79 cents. It went up to 260. You know, I made a premature sell on some of my tokens when it went down to 207. But I started, you know, buying. I started selling more when we started going back up. And once we got back up to that 260, you know, I made a full exit on it. You know, I made a 3X on it. It did for me what I needed it to do. And, you know, if it goes up higher, best of luck. If it doesn't, then whatever. I made my money. I'm happy with what I did on my return, and that's it. You know, you guys that bought XRP, you know, at $1.60 and it went up to $3.20, that's a full 100% return. That's great. You can't even accomplish that rarely in the stock market, you know, unless you're Jumpman, that 3X your Roth IRA. But it's extremely hard to do that. You know, you have to be in the right assets, the right time. And, you know, look, these crypto stock ETFs, these crypto beta plays on the stock market, these are going to be the winners. So the fact that, you know, XRP isn't going all crazy, that's a blessing. So, you know, if we can pull back down, you know, we get down to 285, that would be a great area to load the boat on XRP. You know, anybody that bought that low, they're up almost 8%. It's not a lot, but it's still good. You know, a lot of these guys that are moving in with size, you know, 8 to 10%, that's a lot of money. So, you know, we have some room to still go up, you know, before we start getting all happy about it. But, you know, I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to break above this 330 and everybody's going to be happy again. And we're going to see everybody, you know, just spamming XRP in the chat. All right. Let's see. 4 months. Jump in Discord tomorrow. I have a few questions. Need to learn. I plan on selling orders once BTC crosses 130 or ETH crosses 6K. That's a good job, man. And that's another thing, man. Have a plan. Most investors don't have plans, you know. I'm going to tell you something real quick, guys. Like, you know, people that are not successful in this market, you know, there are people that don't have plans, and there are people that just, you know, they're only in crypto because their buddy told them to do it, or, you know, they got on YouTube and they saw, you know, what's his name? Alex Becker or whoever, you know, telling them to buy crypto, and they're thinking that this is just like a get-rich scheme, and it's not. You know, this is very dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, and if you don't have an area of where you're going to take profits at, you can really get hurt. You can lose a lot of money, especially in this phase of the market. You know, there's a lot of people that are saying that, you know, we're going to have an extended bull cycle, that, you know, that crypto is just going to keep going up and going up. And all I can tell you is that, you know, they could be wrong or they could be right. But at the end of the day, the probability of getting either one of those choices right, where you're going to nail the top or nail the bottom, is highly unfavorable for you. So it's always best just to strategize a plan. Like, say, hey, look, I'm just looking to make 60 to 100% this cycle and cash out, sit in USDC, compound that 5%, you know, rewards for your coins, and buy back when the market pulls back. Okay. All right. Let's check out Chainlink real quick. You guys still doing y'all's live, Neb? Brenda. So Chainlink looks really good as well. Chainlink, you know, obviously is doing his thing, man. Not a coin that I would be buying right now. So if anybody's looking at Link, I would probably pick something else. You know, it's done what it needs to do. Think that, you know, it's gonna hit that $30, probably pull back. All-time high was $44, so it's about that time to almost exit off the train. But you know, anybody that was listening to Jumpman and buying at that $11, you guys did great. It's a solid 2x. I think we can get to at least $30, and that would be close to that, you know, 3x. And you can get down from there, or you can stay in. But I recommend taking profit soon. Rusty Cage, good night, bro. Thank you. Let's check out one more coin, guys. Probably gonna wrap it up a little early too. I'm gonna do some work in my own Discord. Gotta talk to some of my members. Probably have like a little end meeting real quick. We'll close things off here. I just wanted to hop in, show some support. I'm not feeling too well. I don't know what's going on, man. I was feeling pretty good today, but just, you know, allergies and stuff like that, and just feel a little bit under the weather. All right, let's see. Let's check out one more coin. You guys give me one more coin, and then we'll call it a wraps. Let's check out Cetus real quick. We'll check out Cetus real quick. We'll wrap it up. Oh man, look at this. Another great coin that has been beat down. And I recommend that you guys keep this on your radar. Don't buy it because I'm saying to buy it, guys. Just keep it on your radar. You know, look, we had this low right here, 9 cents. Right now it's at 10, but look at where it's down from. We're down from 25 cents. And we have even a 50-cent local high back here in December. Remember, we had that massive hack on SUI. And once SUI went down, you know, it pretty much just crashed the price. And, you know, it is what it is. But people that know, like, cryptos, like Tau, it happened last year with Tau. They had the major hack. And the price went down, I think, what, 60, 70%. Came back, made another all-time high. Pancake swap. It even happened to Ethereum. It's happened to some of all the best cryptocurrencies that, you know, that are around to this day. So I think that, you know, you guys not keeping this at least on your watch list is a really big no-no. So just keep it on your watch list. I really believe that this coin will make a full recovery, in my opinion. As long as SUI does well, I think Cetus will do well. Do you have an estimate of the potential high that coin will go? I'm looking for 3 or 4x's, man, on most of my investments. So everything that I call out, 2, 3, 4x, pretty much. I don't try to give anything crazy, man. I don't try to give anything like too outlandish, you know, to hurt people. You know, I always recommend, you know, if you get like a 2 or 3x, take your initials out and some, and leave a little moon bag just in case if it does go crazy. You know, you can still get that upside, you know, and see where it goes. All right, guys, I'm going to log off. I'm going to do some work in my Discord. I just wanted to come on here and shout out to you guys and, you know, give you guys a little bit of guidance if you guys are looking for something or you know, whatever, just to shoot the shit with y'all guys. Y'all have a great night.